This is your channel for everything VR related. Today, we finally have some updates on where the heck the Steam frame is. There's a bunch of exciting games dropping this week, plus we have plenty of new game announcements and updates to go over. Now there are of course links and timestamps if you want to skip ahead, but before we jump in, today's video is brought to you by the free-to-play co-op looter shooter Scrap Age. Fire up your MetaQuest Pro 2, 3, or 3S, and either bring along up to 3 friends, or just get matched into an open lobby and immediately start shooting down hordes of enemies. Now, Scrap Age is currently in early access and sitting with a 4.6 review score on the Meta Store, but they're still constantly pushing out new updates, including their latest patch that introduces Mateo 311 cosmetic skins. It's an undeniable and immediate cosmetic upgrade, and then you and your buddies can go run around in matching outfits. The game's main hub also operates as a great little hangout, and it's surprisingly fun to just grappling hook around the room and then showing off some of the weapons and skins that you've unlocked. Now, the game's combat has you jumping in against waves of robotic enemies, and the longer you survive, the more credits you bring back that you could spend on new weapons and cosmetics. So if you're looking for a new free-to-play shooter that you could jump into with some buddies, go use the link down in the description to check out Scrap Age. And let's just start things off like normal with the check-in, and that's what have I been up to in the VR world. Well, last week during the news, I said, I've been a guilty cheater. I'm only playing Resident Evil 9 and Hades 2 right now. So then right after I made that video, I guess I felt guilty, jumped into a few hours of Forefront. I tried out Glass Breakers. I even tried out Hogwarts Legacy in UEVR. And of course, I'm working on our game, which we're getting ready for our second round of alpha testing. If you have any interest, there's a link down in the description. You could join the Discord, and from there, you'll find out when our next alpha starts. But let's not waste any more time and get into this week's new releases. And first up, we have a new dino building mixed reality experience that actually stealth dropped last week. It's part puzzle solving and educational as you reconstruct some dinosaur fossils, but mixed reality also lets you take this to the next level and bring these creatures into your real life environment. Now, this might not be the game that everyone's looking for, but I feel like there's a very specific niche that will absolutely love this title. And speaking of loving games, after multiple years of early access, we're finally getting the full release of Bootstrap Island. This game is not only absolutely stunning and highly immersive, but the studio also went all out and gave us some incredibly rich and deep VR mechanics. Now, I've spoken about this game multiple times in the past, so I won't go on and on, but if you are interested in me covering the full release, let me know down in the comments right now. But next up, we have Skyleap, which aims to be your ultimate parkour challenge. Jump, climb, grapple, and even battle your way through these high-speed, massive, vertically scaling levels. There's also multiple different game modes and online leaderboards, so if you enjoyed something like Stride or To the Top, you'll most likely want to check out Skyleap. But moving into game updates and new announcements, the super chill and surprisingly immersive Puzzling Places will be making its way onto Steam next month. This title originally released on the MetaQuest back in 2021, and it not only scratches that jigsaw puzzle itch, but also takes it to a whole new level in VR. Now, if you're a Steam gamer who's interested in this title, there's a demo available now, and it's playable in both flat and VR modes. Now, for whatever reason, this is one of those titles I never got around to trying, but multiple people have told me it is a fun, chill experience. But if that's not what you're looking for, good news, I have the exact opposite with the teaser trailer for Affected: The Asylum. This psychological survival horror game was built from the ground up for VR, and it was originally announced all the way back in 2022 with a 2023 release date that was at first pushed back, and then the studio just went silent. Well, lucky for us, they have returned with a new summer 2026 release date. And last up in the game news, Darts VR2 Bullseye is coming soon to all major VR platforms. Now, it looks like they're going for fast-paced arcadey gameplay rather than realism, but there's very little footage out there to go on. Now, when games like this get announced, I'm always really curious, is this what the industry actually needs? Are these titles successful? And if so, who is buying those games? And before you say, well, what about Walkabout Mini Golf? That's the exception rather than the norm. And finally, before we move into today's main topic, we have some more unfortunate news for the VR industry, and more specifically, the nDream studio. This is now the third time they've been forced to restructure, and with this latest one comes with a near 80-person staff reduction, with the shutdown of both nDream's Compass and nDream's Near Light. The core focus going forward will be on nDream's Elevation, which I'm actually really glad to hear, because that's the studio that gave us the amazing title Reach, while nDream's Compass gave us Wreckin' Raccoon and Nearlight gave us Frenzies. Now it's understandable if you don't agree with me, but Reach is the type of game I would rather see more of, and I personally feel gives a better representation of what VR should be. But for now though, let's move into the spec of updates for Valve's new hardware, which unfortunately is just not a lot of information. I know you guys would want me to say, hey, here's a release date, here's the price tag, but I can't. And apparently even Valve can't. So just to quickly recap, a year ago I was at GDC and people were already talking about the Steam Deck and Steam Frame, even though they really weren't supposed to. And a couple people may have at least hinted at the fact that they already had one or that they had one coming. That's why I came home from GDC last year like, hey guys, it's real. I know it's real. I know it's out in the wild. That's all I can say. We should get an announcement within the next few months, which it came a little bit later than expected, but sure enough, we got an announcement in November. We knew all the new hardware is coming from Valve. We're super excited. And then things go upside down because of the AI apocalypse. They're just taking up all the RAM and GPUs, which is killing the consumer market. To quickly recap you on why things are going sideways. Now, we've got some minor updates from Valve. Last month in February, they said, listen, we want to give you the price and release date, but the economy is in too much turmoil right now. The price of RAM is more than doubled. A single item like that going up 100 or 200% overnight is enough to just ruin the release of a product. Valve said that this has to be hardware that is viable, that is not going to be sold at a loss, that they expect to make their money back with Steam sales. That's not their goal. They want the sales of this hardware to fund future hardware. This is supposed to be self-isolated, self-contained, separate from the overall money that their software side brings in. So it should be a by itself a viable hardware business, and that only works if you're selling hardware at a profit. And now they're kind of screwed really bad in that situation. So we got the update in February, which basically said that. Listen, the price of RAM, we're trying to figure things out. Now, a few days ago, if you are on the developer contact list for Steam, they sent out some information talking about their 2025 recap and things going forward. And some of the wording had people super concerned. It said, we are hoping to release our new hardware in 2026. Hoping. Which all of a sudden people went, wow, this hardware won't come out in 2026, or there's a chance. And that has been rephrased quickly. So they're still planning to release the hardware. Not planning, they are releasing the hardware this year unless something crazy goes off. And they wanted it in the first 6 months of the year, first half. We're not even sure if that's going to happen. They have hardware ready. They have hardware that they could push out, but you have to understand the situation that they're in. They probably can't afford to keep producing more hardware and sell it at the same price. So what do? Do you sell the first batch that we know is going to sell out super fast anyway? Do you sell it at the price it should be at before the RAM increased and it does really well? Or you increase the price. Sure, your first run sells because it's exciting and new, but if your price tag is $1,200, $1,300 for either the Steam Frame or Steam Machine, you're probably pricing out. So you're going to piss people off if you sell early in the beginning. And why would you? Because that hardware is going to sell anyway. If anything, you should sell it higher in the beginning. So you can't increase the price over time to match this RAM. Consumers are just not going to be cool with it. They're also going to look at it and just be like, I don't care. Every piece of hardware is more expensive now. I'm not spending this money. So the potential to ruin the launch of all of Valve's new hardware is there. And they are just crunching the numbers. They're trying to come up with the best plan. They're trying to get it to us without screwing themselves over or also without offending the consumer. Like, I think they're making a major consideration on optics here. We can't sell it at like a varying price rate. That's going to drive people nuts. Remember what happened with the Meta Quest Pro. That thing released at $1,000 and then 3 months later it was $500 and people went insane. It's a huge price difference. So that unfortunately is the only update we have right now. It's currently listed. They went into all their sites for all of the new Valve hardware and changed it for whatever reason to coming soon. So they're all listed as coming soon. And that coming soon could mean surprise drop tomorrow. No. Or we get it within the first 6 months, or we get it as a Christmas gift or for the holiday season. They wait all the way till December and then release this as a holiday item, which I think could work in their favor if the prices come down. But who the heck wants to wait in the staleness of VR for another potential 9 months? It's been pretty stale, guys. Not crazy stale that, VR's dead, but we usually have a slow few months and then things kick back up. And this is when it was supposed to kick back up. We were supposed to hit that March madness with the release of this hardware, but we didn't get it. So unfortunately, that's the update, guys. I hope you stuck around to hear me ramble on this. If you enjoyed the video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you want to see me cover anything specifically, please just let me know in the comments. I do read all your comments. I do my best to get back to you. And if you're new here, please consider subscribing. Oh, let me know about the new music. I change it every once in a while. Just curious to hear what you guys think.